விடுதலை 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 விடுதலை.
The salt agitation of 1930. Struggles for freedom, collective, individual.
மனிதர் யாரும் ஒரு நிகர் சமானமாக வாழ்வமே. விடுதலை 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 விடுதலை.
Regimes of power over a people and at home. A woman struggles to be. Bits of paper in a trunk, her archive. History, piecing together the realities of lived experience and the substance of dreams. Subbalakshmi, born 1897. Granddaughter Maithili, writing her story years after she was gone. As she wrote, others too began to write. A family archive reconstructing Subbalakshmi's life. A father's dreams for his little girl's education, cut off by early death. Mother Kamakshi returns to her father's home. Brothers went to school. Subbalakshmi did not. Grandfather's failing eyesight gave her the word and a sense of the country's dreams for independence.
மாகாணத்தில் நடந்த வன்முறை சம்பவங்கள் குறித்த தகவல்கள் கவலை தருவதாக உள்ளன. கனம் பொருந்திய கவர்னர் அவர்கள் The tragic events related to the post-partition of Bengal have left many onlookers afraid and upset.
The girl read all her brother's books. Glimpsing a hidden brilliance, his teacher said, "This girl should go to school." Instead, according to convention, the shy bookworm of 11 was married to PRG, salt inspector, riding horseback over the salt pans, enforcing the colonial regime. Home in a barren countryside. Motherhood, the first child at 14, then another. Though there were voices against child marriage and early motherhood, they did not change things for Subbalakshmi. Later, there was an illness at 19 and a strange silence surrounding it, as if there were some things that could not be spoken about. And why did no one come to see her in all those many weeks she was in hospital? But there was some solace. In the next bed, a woman reached out to Subbalakshmi, sharing her pain. Grace Samuel, wife of a pastor, introducing her to the joys of gardening, the mysteries of nature. The letters between them made for a tender friendship. Discharged from hospital, a return home. A second son is born. By now, Subbalakshmi was 21. But even before she could watch her children grow, a son died. And then another. Though grief-stricken, Subbalakshmi still had her firstborn daughter, Pankajam, with no school to go to, in the salt pans. The daughter remembers arguments between her parents about her education. For women, it's enough to count and sing lullabies, says the father. No, not enough. A mother's stubborn refusal to accept the denial of education to the daughter. Finally, for Pankajam, Subbalakshmi went to Madras. For herself too, maybe. A train to freedom, to mother and brother in Madras. Subbalakshmi put Pankajam into the Lady Willingdon School. Pankajam's girlhood, school friends, discovering the joys of learning, and dreams of becoming a doctor, encouraged by her biology teacher, the courageous reformer, Sister Subbalakshmi. Away from the salt pans, an enchanted time. Art exhibitions, Nandlal Bose and the Rhythms of India. One painting catches her eye. To own this one masterpiece is better than owning a gallery of lesser paintings, she notes. There were also other stirrings inside her. Being in Madras gave Subbalakshmi the space to relate to a moment in history. Madras, 1922. The call for boycott of foreign goods. The Prince of Wales's visit. Black flag demonstration. Subbalakshmi sneaked out of the house, black flag in hand. Lathi charge. A monster public meeting. The Gandhi cap is a sign of disaffection, says the collector of Madras. Relatives of government officials must stay away from non-cooperation, the newspaper reports. The men's jobs are at stake. Public participation is too risky. Subbalakshmi found other ways. She spun khaddar and sent money for political causes. In 1924, Subbalakshmi began a diary with coded entries in a child's exercise book. Writing about accounts, visits to doctors, sunsets, moonlit nights, recalling her favorite Tamil poet, Subramanya Bharatiyar's verse.
Sollayum kannayum nenjayum சேர்த்திங்கு வெண்ணிலாவே சொல்லையும் கண்ணையும் நெஞ்சையும் சேர்த்திங்கு வெண்ணிலாவே நின்றன் ஜோதி மயக்கும் வகை அதுதான் என் சொல் வெண்ணிலாவே.
Thunder and Rain, an occasion to quote Rabindranath Tagore. Reaching out to reports that women and children were in distress, a quiet little entry written in June 1924 reveals that she sent money to the Mapla Fund. March 7th, 1925. A political meeting. Went to the beach in the evening to see Mahatma Gandhi. Could not hear a word and caught only a brief sight of him. New friends are made. The Chattopadhyayas, Harindranath, and Kamla Devi, his wife, Subbalakshmi's special friend. Visits to their Santhom house. Harindranath plays the organ. Pankajam eats ice cream. The two friends talk. A dead marriage is not worth holding on to, Kamla Devi says. Subbalakshmi's diary records on January 20th, 1925. Made a resolve. God help me to keep it. Was it to go away to Shantiniketan? One day, Subbalakshmi told her daughter with excitement, "We are to go to Shantiniketan. You will study and I will work." But then, a diary entry notes, "I ever forget, that I have not the winged horse, that the gates are everywhere shut at the house where I dwell." A dream died. No winged horse rescued Subbalakshmi from a retreat into a dark room. There's a return to the backwaters, to PRG, Pankajam's father. Pankajam's friends write, "Your desk is empty. No one sits in it. We miss your laughter," and send her the marks of her last tests in school. The daughter recollects crying herself to sleep. She notes sadly, "Both my parents loved me. My mother gave me freedom. For my father, marriage was my only destiny." (1929) Pankajam is married and goes away to Madras. The end of a dream to become a doctor. 1930, the salt agitation. Gandhiji and Sarojini defy the salt laws at Dandi. Subbalakshmi's friend Kamla Devi, the heroine of the Satyagraha in Bombay, storms the High Court, selling salt for freedom. Far away, on the Cholam coast, Subbalakshmi sends money, clandestinely, to support the salt agitation. She makes salt, alone, an individual satyagraha. No passive resistance this. Her flag of defiance is Khaddar. Though unable to participate in public life, Subbalakshmi found other ways to express herself. With the small allowance she gets, Subbalakshmi orders books. Read books on politics, economics, and the sciences. Bought the first edition of Edgar Snow's Red Star over China. Do you have books on psychology? Madam, we have 1,000. I cannot list them for you. But if you send someone, he can copy the list, writes the librarian. Subbalakshmi read the Buddhist texts. The songs of the bhikkhunis had a great appeal for her. One reached out to freedom and liberty. Another sang of the sorrow of a child's death, echoing your own grief. She was no ordinary grandmother to her grandchildren when they came. No baby talk, but going birdwatching with them, stargazing, and introducing them to the joys of reading. When they were older, they took her to the library and to meetings. An evening of Bharatiya's nationalist songs during the Quit India movement in 1942. Listening, with tears streaming down her face. Immobilized by arthritis as she grew older, Subbalakshmi made journeys in her mind over distant lands, reading travel books, following the routes of Alexander, Marco Polo, and Fahian's journey from China to India in search of Buddhist learning. She continued to dream about freedom. A dream, a persistent dream, about trapped indentured labor. A woman beseeching her for help, for freedom from servitude, in distant South Africa, where Gandhiji had begun his satyagrahas for the rights of all coloured peoples. Mostly, Subbalakshmi was silent. shunning people, her gaze set on the distant horizon. Except for those mornings when she'd seek the grandchildren out to tell them about her South African dream.
கரும்பு தோட்டத்திலே நாட்டை நினைப்பாரோ எந்த நாள் இனி போய் அதை காண்பதென்றே அன்னை வீட்டை நினைப்பாரோ அவர் விம்மி 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 அழும் குரல் கேட்டிருப்பாய் காற்றே.
Why a Tamil woman in indenture, we wonder? Was it her homelessness that beseeched you, her unfreedom, or yours? Memories, like the peels of an onion, each reveals a different layer. What did you leave behind, Subbalakshmi? A thirst for knowledge, a passion for justice, a search for freedom, for the country, for every individual, an enduring legacy beyond your times. A fragment of history.
White clouds, the sea glittering beautifully.